This podcast is brought to you by Most Valuable Podcasts, leading the league in podcasting entertainment.
What's up, real MVPs? Ricky Whitmer here, and welcome in to another episode of the Onside Kick right here on MVP Sports. I am joined with my co-host, JD. JD, how we doing today? I hope you're doing good, because we're talking about your division.
A little tired today, but
can't even bring up the energy for his own division.
No, I mean, obviously, I have some things to say, but
do you have adrenaline in your soul?
I might after the first team we talk about.
Well, no, I was going to say you have to have adrenaline in your soul because your quarterback this year is Cody Rhodes. Cody Rhodes, your quarterback this year.
I did like that. I did like that Cody Rhodes played into the bit.
Yeah, did he?
I don't know if you saw it, but on his Twitter, like as soon as it happened, he said it was like NFL quarterback or whatever in his Twitter bio.
Yeah.
So I like that. That was cool.
I know we're not a wrestling podcast, Heel Talk MVP Entertainment, but did you see the clip that's been going around with Cody Rhodes recently?
I've seen him going around. I don't know.
So he was on Complex, right? Talking about like sneakers and stuff. And he made the comment that people who are like guys that are intimidated of other guys who like wear suits like he does, the suit with the vest. Yeah. He's like, if you're intimidated by that, you have a certain anatomy of your body might be small, is what he said. I'll leave it at that. Yeah. I think enough smart people can connect the dots at what he really said. He said it more graphically than I just did. Yeah. But he's like, if you're a man and you're intimidated by someone who wears suits regularly or dress clothes regularly, then you have a certain part of your body anatomy that is smaller than the rest.
Yeah, I mean...
And people are up in arms about it on Twitter.
Yeah.
How dare this baby face say that? What?
Yeah, no. I mean, I bet, people are upset about it. I'm not surprised about it.
Is he wrong? That's for you to decide. No, I don't think he is.
No, I'll just come out and say he isn't wrong.
I love wearing dress clothes. Makes you look good, makes you feel good. But JD, hopefully you're going to feel good after this divisional preview. Because like I said, we're talking about your team today. We're going over the AFC North. Before we get into everything, housekeeping number one. Check out the Discord. Links are down below. Patreon if you want to support us. All of our socials, TikTok, Instagram, down below in the description. Also hit that like button, that sub button. We're going to be here all football season long. And let us know what you guys think. If you're a Raven fan, you're a Brown fan, you're a Bengal fan, you're a Steeler fan. What? Let us know what you think down below in the comment section. But JD, we're starting off with your team, the Cincinnati Bengals. It feels weird because the Bengals were the last place team last year. However, that's going to happen when Joe Burrow misses the last 7 games of the year, plays with an injury, and then he played with the injury, then he missed the last 7 games. Yeah. Before we get into everything, let's set the team up. What did you guys lose this year? Mitchell Wilcox, he's gone. He's in New England. Max Sharping, he's in Philly. Stanley Morgan, he's with the Saints. Josh Tupou, he's with the Ravens. Marcus Bailey's in Arizona. Irv Smith used to be with me, then he was with you. Now he's in KC.
Goodbye.
Nick Scott's in Carolina. Tyler Boyd is in Tennessee. DJ Reader is in Detroit. Jonah Williams is in Arizona. Chidobe Awuzie is in Tennessee. Awuzie is in Tennessee. James Prochi? No. See, I did it again. This is the third straight podcast I did it.
Yeah, I was
That's the Browns. We will get to them. He stayed. He was in Cleveland. He stayed in Cleveland. So that's who you lost. Who'd you bring in? Von Bell from the Panthers. Mike Gesicki from the Patriots. Trenton Brown from the Patriots, Zach Moss from the Colts, Geno Stone from the Ravens, and Sheldon Rankins from the Texans. JD, the big story this year with the Bengals is Joe Burrow. Can he stay healthy? Will he stay healthy? He's got the Cody Rhodes haircut. What? Finish the story. What? Is Joe Burrow going to finish the story this year, JD? Is he going to conquer his demons and win the Super Bowl?
Well, that's the big question, isn't it?
Is it Super Bowl or bust for this team, basically?
Man, as a fan of where we are now, I would say yes, but realistically, no, because this team is not as good as it was last year. Last year, I think, was the year to win the Super Bowl. Obviously, like you said, Burrow got hurt, but that goes into my thinking now. If you've known me, if you've seen me in Discord, Burrow's my favorite player in the league right now, and I obviously absolutely love him, but I said it when he got hurt the second time last year. This guy needs to figure out how to stay healthy. I don't care that it's freak injuries. Oh, he had appendicitis.
It was his wrist, right?
Well, the second time, the one that shut him down.
Last year was his wrist, right?
Yeah, but in training camp he had the calf strain.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's just, he needs to figure out how to stay healthy because he will never be an all-time great quarterback if he's always dealing with injuries and starts the year like dog water because he didn't have a full training camp. But yeah, if he somehow hopefully manages to stay healthy this year, this team should make a deep playoff run. I don't know about Super Bowl because this team has some holes in it that I would have loved to see get fixed.
Like what?
Defensive tackle, 3-tech, interior, like pass rush. Yes, you have Trey Hendrickson, who generated, I think it was 17.5 sacks last year. But again, he's 31 now, I believe. I believe it's
You're talking about Trey
Hendrick. Yeah,
he's 1994 is when he was born. So that'd be like what, 4 years? Yeah, he's 30. Going to be 30.
Yeah. So
he's 30, going to be 31. You're right.
Yeah. So he's on the older side. Will he be able to generate 17.5 sacks again this year? I mean, I doubt it.
He's 29, going to be 30. But besides the point, go ahead.
Yeah. You lost an absolutely massive piece for the defense in DJ Reader to Detroit. I know people from the outside are like, oh, it's just a nose tackle. No, DJ Reader, when healthy, is still by far and away the best nose tackle in the NFL. Our run defense was horrible last year with him. Now without him, we didn't really do much to improve that. Sheldon Rankins can defend the run, but he's more of a 3-tech. We drafted Chris Jenkins in the second round, who was more of a run stopper than pass rusher, so maybe he can help as well. But really, the main issues for this team, I know some people are going to say offensive line. I think the offensive line will be fine.
I will say this though. I'm going to cut you off with the offensive line. Yeah. Is there any worry about like a week ago, we're recording this. I know you guys are seeing this like later. We're pre-recording these previews. We're recording this in late July 29th. As of right now, Trent Brown, who you got from the Patriots, is injured. You have rookie Amarius Mims getting first team reps right now. Is that a worry with the offensive line? Is that just like hey, Mims is fine, he'll get those first team reps? Or is the Braun injury something to worry about?
Ideally, you sit Mims for the start of the year because, again, he's a rookie and he has very little game experience. I think at Georgia, he only played, 3 games in his Georgia career?
Yeah.
So... But again, a lot of people, even I was listening to a podcast today, and they were saying that Mims, yes, there's been no pads, but he's looked really good going in the one-on-ones against the defensive line. And so, sure, okay, that's positive. But for the offensive line, at least, the biggest concern I would say is probably the interior. Ted Karras, you brought him back, like you extended him. He's
ILL.
ready to um, Cordell Volson is probably the weakest link at left guard.
Yep.
I would have loved to see an improvement on him, but going into, I believe it's going to be year 3 for him this year.
Yeah.
Again, hopefully it finally comes together for him.
Mm-hmm.
But at tackle, you're fine. Orlando Brown Jr., you know what you're going to get. You paid him big money to play left tackle for you.
Mm-hmm.
He's probably the best left tackle the Bengals have had since Andrew Whitworth. Well, actually,
Yeah.
not probably. He is. But the biggest, like I was going to say, the biggest problem, though, or biggest question mark is the secondary.
Mm-hmm. You
have Cam Taylor-Britt, who is going into year 3, and when we drafted him 3 years ago, or I guess 2 years ago, I loved the pick. I'm glad I was right. I was super high on him, and I think he is a legit number 1 corner on a good team. Then for the second corner spot, though, it's with Awuzie leaving, you have a battle between DJ Turner, who was a second round pick last year, who he struggled towards the end of the season. And Dax Hill, who has a position change, and he was your first round pick 2 years ago. So that's probably the biggest concern. DJ Turner probably gets the nod just because he's actually played corner for Michigan. Dax Hill was more of that nickel kind of like safety corner hybrid.
Yeah.
Last year at safety he was dog water. So this has to be his year to actually ball out, or he will definitely be considered a first round bust.
Yep.
And then but then same thing with safety. So the Bengals, it was before free agency, it was heavily rumored that they were going to sign Geno Stone from the Ravens because
who they did.
Yeah, because it was the first game against the Ravens last year, Burrow threw a pick to Geno Stone and basically said, "Oh, yeah, that guy really beat me there. He's such a smart player." So from that moment on, the Bengals beat writers knew that, okay, well, that Joe Burrow's praising this guy, probably gonna sign him, which I don't necessarily love because he's a pretty bad tackler. But hopefully, he's still young enough. Hopefully he improves on that. And then you have a battle, but no, I just realized what I did there. But you have a battle between Jordan Battle and Von Bell.
There it is.
Von Bell, yeah. Von Bell. Yeah. Yeah, but you right now, the reports from practice today were that Von Bell was getting the starting reps. I love Von Bell before he left the Bengals in free agency 2 years ago. But again, he's old now. You just hope that he can still be a good in the box safety and a good communicator. But the team should be good. Defense, again, the defense just has the biggest question marks. You need to hope that the rookies you've drafted step in or step up.
Step in and step up.
Yeah, exactly. And then even your free agent acquisitions, because this was the first year that the Bengals haven't spent a lot of money in free agency just because they couldn't now with the Joe Burrow contract extension looming. Trying to sign Jamar Chase, signing T. Higgins to the franchise tag. But you got to hope that your second-year guys and your rookies come in and improve.
Because like we did mention, or I kind of mentioned, Tyler Boyd no longer with the team.
Yeah.
Like you had to, Chase, Burrow, and like franchise tagging T. Higgins, bringing him back. One of the wide receivers slipped through the cracks. And like you mentioned, Joe Burrow extension, that's going to start up next year, where this year $29.7 million up to $46.2 starting next year. Jamar Chase, he's up to $21.8 million next year. You got to get that extension done then.
And and he's gonna want to make the same as Jefferson. That's
Mm-hmm.
why contract negotiations haven't started until
Yeah.
now.
Yeah.
But I'm not worried about the wide receiver room because
Mm-hmm.
Jermaine Burton has
The
been
rookie.
he was a steal in
Mm-hmm.
the third round, I believe it was, that we got him.
Mm-hmm.
It was just because of off the field issues, but apparently he's been killing it in training
Mm-hmm.
camp.
Out of Alabama, what?
Yeah, so
Hi, everybody. Just want to take a quick moment out of today's podcast to tell you about our sponsor for today, BETUS, a sports book that has it all, whether it's basketball, hockey, football, soccer, whatever you like to bet on, BETUS has you covered. And they are offering our viewers and listeners today a 125% sign-up bonus just for using our link down below in the description. So go ahead, use that link down below and get your 125% sign-up bonus, BETUS. And now, let's get back to the podcast.
So Tyler Boyd was a great slot receiver. Again, on the older side now.
Yeah.
But I think they replaced him with a good player as well. So I guess maybe the biggest question mark on the offense is the offensive line depth. It's pretty much non-existent. So you just gotta hope that, especially like I said in the interior, you just gotta hope that your guys can stay healthy for a full 17 games.
Yeah. And I mean, I will say with the Bengals, the one reason why, first off, Joe Burrow has to stay healthy. That's the caveat. If Joe Burrow's not healthy, this team isn't going anywhere. I'm just going to say that flat out. Like, this team goes as far as Joe Burrow will take them. But I look at this team, if Joe Burrow stays healthy, I think you guys are going to, like, I'm not going to say you win the division for sure, but you're going to have a good shot at winning the division. The reason I say that is, and it kind of confuses me seeing this, the Bengals have the 6th easiest schedule this year in the NFL. The rest of the teams in the North, Steelers have the hardest schedule. The Browns have the 3rd hardest schedule, and the Ravens have the 4th hardest schedule. So the rest of, like, and I don't get how that happens because you're playing the same division, you're playing the same AFC division, the same NFC division of how it maps out with the schedule. I don't get how it works out that, hey, 3 of the teams in this division have such a hard schedule. Like, all 3 of them are in the top 5. And then the Bengals have the 6th easiest. It just doesn't make sense to me.
It's because the 4th place teams we play this year are actually dog water.
Okay.
And I think we play them at home. Like our tough games, I think our tough games are at home.
So here's the schedule. So you lead off against the Patriots at home. Right? So that's a 4th place team at home. Then you're playing Sunday late afternoon against the Chiefs at Arrowhead. Week 3, Monday night, 4th place team, Washington, at home. Carolina, week 4, 4th place team on the road. You're playing in Carolina. Then you're playing Baltimore at home in week 5. You've got Sunday night football week 6 against the Giants in Meadowlands. Then you have at Cleveland week 7, home against Philadelphia week 8, home against the Raiders week 9, at Baltimore Thursday night football on the November 7th. Sunday the 17th, you're playing at LA, the Chargers, bye week. Then 13, you're home against Pittsburgh. 14, Monday night football at Dallas. Week 15, you're at Tennessee. And that you're ending the season home against the Browns, home against Denver, at Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
So, like, to me, it's like, take advantage of this. You have to take advantage of this schedule, of the Washington, New England, New York, the Giants I'm talking about, Carolina, the Raiders, the Chargers this year, Tennessee, Denver. You have to make advantages of these games, mainly because The Browns will play you tough. The Steelers, I don't know what's going to happen this year. Who's going to be quarterback, how they're going to do. If it's Russ, does he go back to old Russ? Is he new Russ? If it's Justin Fields, is he new and improved Justin Fields or Bears Justin Fields? The Ravens are going to be tough. Those two games, besides the Chiefs, the two games against the Ravens are your hardest games this year.
Yeah, exactly. And this is why I was saying you need to remain healthy throughout training camp, because again, the last year it was about the mission was getting the number 1 seed, because our start of the season last year was very easy on paper. But then with the Burrow injury, obviously that derailed things. But this year you have to start out hot. You cannot do this.
Did it though?
Pardon?
Did it though? And the only reason I say did it though is the last 7 games. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Burrow was not starting the last 7 games. You were 5-5 before that.
Yeah.
You went 4-3 in those games. Yeah, it's just over 500, but you had a winning record in those last 7.
Yeah, and that's what I was saying. That's why but those games before the season started, those games were supposed to be our more difficult.
Yeah. Good point.
But
strength of schedule can change once games are played.
Yeah. So, but this year, again, on paper, before any games have been played, you have to take advantage of that at the beginning. If you can you should beat the Patriots at home. But the problem is the offense has been garbage for the first 4 weeks of the last 3 seasons. So now you have to start off hot. You have to beat the Patriots at home. No ifs, ands, or buts. Obviously, KC is going to be a tough game, but KC usually struggles in the beginning of the season as well. Or I don't know about struggle, but they're not in full form.
They're not as
yet.
Sharp, yeah.
Yeah. So take advantage of that. Get good riddance. You get that game out of the way. Hopefully you win.
He says good riddance.
Yeah. So I'm not saying you have to start the season 5-0, but start off hot, gain momentum, and then ride that until the end of the season. That's what you need, especially in this division, because and you, for the love of God, you cannot start your division 0-3. You at least need to go 2-1 to start your divisional games.
So we'll move on. You're talking about the division. We'll move on to the team that was third last year, the Pittsburgh Steelers. Who did they lose? Well, they lose Mikael Walker to Washington. Elijah Riley's in New York. James Pierre's in Washington. Miles Boykins is in New York. Levi Wallace is in Denver. Allen Robinson is in New York. Armon Watts is in New England. Mason Rudolph's in Tennessee. You have Okafor is in New England. Mitchell Trubisky's in Buffalo. And that's all you lose. What do you bring in if you're Pittsburgh? They bring in a lot. LaMichael Pirine, running back. Cameron Sutton from Detroit. You've got Tyler Matakevich from Buffalo. Russell Wilson from Denver. McCoy Pruitt from the Falcons. Scotty Miller from the Falcons. Kyle Allen from the Bills. Quez Watkins from Philadelphia. Van Jefferson from Atlanta. Christian Kuntz stays with them. He stayed. Dean Lowry from Minnesota. Deshaun Elliott from Miami. Cordell Patterson from the Falcons. Cameron Johnston from the Texans. And Patrick Queen, probably one of their biggest signings, coming over from the Ravens to play with TJ Watt and that linebacking core. Even with those additions, JD, the biggest question on the mind, yes, they're going to have rookies starting this year, especially on the offensive line. You'll have Zach Frazier slated to start at center. They're going to have Troy Fatanu slated to start at right tackle. Roman Wilson from Michigan is slated to start in the slot this year. However, the big question is with this team, who should start at quarterback? Like we mentioned in either the NFC or the AFC East, I can't remember which one. I just listed off the free agent additions. There was also a trade addition they added. Justin Fields. Who's going to start at quarterback? Russell Wilson, Steeler country, let's weld? Or Justin Fields, hey boy, we're going to see if Chicago was the problem or not. Who should start, JD?
I would say to start the season, I would say Russ.
Mm-hmm.
Just because, just hate to be brutal here, but you got to see if Ole Yeller's still kicking or not.
Mm-hmm.
You just get the hurting out of the way.
Russell Wilson.
Yeah, so if he struggles right off the jump, okay, cool. Just bench him and then hopefully find a way to get rid of him. And then go to Justin Fields. And I think he will get the nod because he is the veteran.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, Justin Fields was a starter in Chicago, but I just don't see a world where he takes the starting job right off the bat. But yeah, I mean, it's definitely they've needed a quarterback arguably 3 years before Big Ben retired. So I mean, I don't hate the strategy of okay, let's grab these two former starters and see who comes out on top and see if we even got anything in them.
The one thing that I'm seeing is happening now. Like I said, we're recording these earlier than when they're coming out. This is the beginning of training camp. We're recording this on the 29th. Russell Wilson has yet to play in training camp. He is nursing an injured calf, where last thing I'm seeing here is the next evaluation was coming today on that calf. However, all the news I know I saw a clip today where, Justin Fields threw a pick six. Yeah, so did JJ McCarthy. But a lot of people are saying Justin Fields is capitalizing on these extra first team reps that he's getting while Russell Wilson is out. Kind of like one article I'm sitting here says like, oh, he's capitalizing to where he's showing the Steelers, hey, I'm ready to take the reins whenever that is. Whenever you decide it is, I'm ready.
Yeah, and as he should, because again, if you're Justin Fields, you want to be a starting quarterback in the NFL.
Yeah.
And the Patriots not the Patriots, the Steelers are probably your best option at that. So he probably knows that there's probably a conversation, hey, Russ is probably going to be our lead guy to start. So yeah, but you want to show the team, hey, I'm good enough. You do not need to acquire another quarterback once Russ eventually is done.
Yeah,
I can be that guy for you. So of course he's gonna try and ball out and try to make a statement.
Because I'm looking, this is a team in the Steelers that made the playoffs last year. They were a third place team in the division, but made the playoffs. They played I'm going to say, even though they lost 31-17, they played a good game against the Bills last year in that snowy Buffalo Stadium in the wild card playoffs. Like, this is a team that has been to the playoffs 3 of their last 4 years. If we go back further, they've been to the playoffs 4 of their last 7. However, and I will say this, the last time the Steelers won a playoff game, do you know what year that was? The last time they won a playoff game?
Was it 2017?
Close, 2016. It would have been the 27 playoffs, I think. But the 2016 season, they beat, let's see, who did they beat in that playoff? They beat the Dolphins 30-12.
Okay.
In the wild card, then beat the Chiefs 18-16 before losing to the Patriots 36-17.
Yeah, I remember because that was before the Chiefs were good. And
guess who was their quarterback?
The Patriots, or I keep saying the
Steelers.
Wasn't it? Oh, it wasn't Big Ben. He was hurt. It was it Mason Rudolph?
It was Big Ben.
Oh, it was?
Yeah, it was Big Ben.
Oh, I thought he was hurt that year.
That was like one of the last years of Ben Roethlisberger, because that was when they had That's when they had Zach Mettenberger as the backup to him.
Mm.
I'm gonna look it up real quick on Pro Football Reference because I think that was 2016 he played 14 of 14 regular season games.
Okay.
It was basically right before the end of, like, he had 5 years left in the league, but right before the end of Big Ben. So, like, what you look at it this way, it's like, okay, we've gone to the playoffs since Big Ben's been gone, but we haven't won a playoff game since Big Ben left the team.
Yeah.
This is something where I like the Steelers this year. I kind of have a feeling need to figure the quarterback out quick, because if they, let's be honest, they're not going to start Fields and then move to Russell Wilson. If anything, they'll start Russ and then move to Fields. If Russ is still Bronco country, let's riding out there. I just have a feeling this Steeler team quarterback is going to be the crux of them, because I think what's going to happen, and this is my little prediction, they will start Russ for namesake. He will struggle with this number one hardest schedule, and by the time they go to pull him, it'll be too late. Justin Fields will come in. Justin Fields will play great, change of scenery, confidence under him, because the team is actually setting him up for success like the Bears never did.
Yeah.
It'll be a great end of the year for Justin Fields. Steeler fans will be happy, but they ain't making the playoffs, I don't think. And mainly because they're going to stick with Russ just a little bit longer than they should.
Yeah. I mean, I was thinking about that today, actually, on the drive home, because I obviously knew we were doing this, but I was thinking about, like, the Steelers making the playoffs, and, you know, I think I lean on the side that they are a playoff team, but honestly, it's no credit to their roster. I've learned my lesson. Until that team shows that they are a losing record team, I will not buy that anymore. So I think that's just kind of like they get the most out of their scrubs, quite honestly, and they have actually improved this team since last year, in my opinion, especially on the offensive line. So I think I lean on the side of them being a playoff team, but, like, again, do I see them winning a playoff game?
So
no.
Here's what I'm going to say. And the reason why, if they sneak into the playoffs, it'll be the very last wild card spot.
Yeah.
But I figured out it's funny because there's 2 games between sixth easiest and hardest. And those games are same division. So basically how the AFC North schedule works, you play the AFC North. They're going to play every team in the NFC East. And then to play every team in the AFC West. The two games where it's like, okay, you play 1-1. One team is an NFC South team. One team is an AFC East team. The Bengals have the Panthers and Patriots.
Yeah.
2 of the easier teams in those divisions. Who do the Steelers have? Well, from the AFC South, they're actually going to start the year against them in Atlanta. Kirk Cousins and company, the Falcons, who are going to be renewed, who are going to be ready to go. And then also week 7, you're playing them at home, but you get to play Aaron Rodgers and the Jets at home. Panthers, Patriots, Jets, Falcons. Which one will you take? I'm taking the former. I'll take the former 9 times out of 6 days of the week and twice on Sunday. I'll take it, is the saying. The Steelers and that front of their schedule, first 7 games for the Steelers. And this is why I think things are going to be interesting if they go with Russell Wilson first. At Atlanta, that'll be tough.
Yeah.
At Denver, Russ's coming home party. You don't think, the Broncos aren't some great team, but you don't think that Sean Payton is going to be pumping up the boys a little bit. Like, guys, he thought he was better than us. Broncos country, let's ride. Let's stick it to him. You don't think he's going to have those boys riled up for that game in Mile High? Then you play the Chargers. Okay, we have to wait and see what Chargers team we get. But week 4 through week 7 at Indianapolis, home against Dallas, the Raiders, let's see how they are. But then, week 7, we welcome in the Jets. Like, that's easily 1, 2, 3, 4 of your first 7 are hard opponents, are playoff worthy opponents right off the rip.
Yeah, I think really everyone there I would be worried about besides the Raiders. Like I don't think the Raiders are good. But I mean, yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like that's why I said with the Bengals it's important to start hot, because with the Steelers you have it's a gauntlet to start the year.
The end of the season is even more of a gauntlet, JD.
Yeah.
It doesn't let up. So, like, week 8, you play the Giants. Okay. Like, week 8 to week 10, Giants by Commanders. All right. You get a 3-week breather, basically. From week 11 on, tell me if this is as equal as a gauntlet. You ready?
Yeah.
Home against Baltimore. At Cleveland. At Cincinnati. Home against Cleveland. At Philly. At Baltimore. Home against KC, home against Cincinnati. So basically from week 11 on, you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. You have all 6 of your divisional games from week 11 to week 18.
Wait, sorry. Did you say the game is in KC or in Pittsburgh?
In Pittsburgh. They're at Philly. Okay. So they're at Philly, but they're home against KC. Still, playing the Chiefs.
Yeah.
Like, but at Philly, like, that's a hard thing. And, like, the way that their schedule is that all 6 of their divisional games are from week 11 to week 18.
Yeah.
You get none of them sprinkled into the first 10 weeks of the season.
Yeah. Oh, man. Yeah, dude, I didn't realize the schedule was that brittle for them.
Like, at least the Bengals start their divisional conquest week 5.
Yeah. And that's where it's like, even the Steelers their home games are like, they didn't really get many easy home games either.
Their home games are Chargers, Cowboys, Jets, Giants, Ravens, Browns, Chiefs, Bengals.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean,
out of division, you didn't get really any easy ones, like you said.
Yeah. I don't know. Maybe this kind of made my stance on them change. Maybe this is the
and that's why the quarterback decision is crucial in training camp to me.
Yeah.
And the preseason, they need to choose the right one.
Yeah.
Because if they stumble early, this team ain't gonna be able to catch up.
And the scary part, if I was a Steelers fan, is there's also a very real chance that both these guys suck.
Yeah.
It's not a foregone conclusion that one of these 2 guys are going to be good.
I think Justin Fields will play better, but you're right.
Yeah.
You're absolutely right. So, like, with the Steelers, we don't know. We don't know how it's going to be. We just don't know. But moving on, because we got limited time to get through 4 teams, we got the Browns. Who did they lose this offseason? So Jacob Phillips is in Houston. Jerron Christian is in Tennessee. You got Matthew Adams is in New York. Anthony Walker Jr. is a Dolphin. Nick Harris is a Seahawk. Harrison Bryant is in Vegas. Joe Flacco's backing up AR in Indianapolis. Michael Ford is in Houston. You've got Taki is in New England. What is it? Sion Taki or something like that. Jordan Elliott is in San Francisco. That's who you lose. Who do you bring in free agent wise? Cade York comes over from the Giants. Giovanni Ricci from the Panthers. Hakeem Adeniji from the Vikings. Tony Brown from the Colts. Wyatt Davis from the Giants. Brian Allen from the Rams. Deonta Foreman from Da Bears. Tyler Huntley from the Ravens. Justin Hardy from the Jets, Devin Bush from the Seahawks, Naheem Hines from the Bills, Quentin Jefferson from the Jets, Jameis Winston from the Saints, Jordan Hicks from the Vikings. JD, when it comes to the Browns, is this team going to compete, or is it basically, hey, you're fighting for third or fourth? Because that's what I think of with this team.
Yeah, I think, again, I think that they're going to be fighting for third or fourth because I don't know if you're looking at the ESPN depth chart, but I am. And I see out. I'm not going to name players, doesn't matter, but out, questionable, out, questionable, IR, questionable, out. Injuries, like there's more, but injuries are always an issue.
I will say this, I'll clarify, because I'm looking at the R lads. You have Jedrick Willis Jr., Jack Conklin, Nick Chubb, Dalvin Tomlinson. All of them are on the PUP list, physically unable to perform. And then you have Greg Newsome II on the non-football injury list. Yeah. That's, what, 5 starters on the either the PUP or the NFI?
Yeah, and then also, like I said, there's like backups who are hurt.
Yeah, like Naheem Hines is on the NIF, Anthony Bell on the PUP.
Yeah. So my main, before Browns fans want to jump on me because I'm a Cincinnati fan. Well, first of all, your quarterback sucks, so there's your first problem, your starter.
But they got Jameis to take over for him.
Well, and that's what I think ultimately will happen. I think Jameis will take over for Watson. But it's always been injuries with this team, with this iteration of the team. They have, on paper, probably one of the best teams in the league. And last year was their year where they were healthy, and they only went 11-6.
So only 11-6.
No, but I mean,
should have been more, is what you're saying.
It should have been more. But again, their quarterback was a main reason as to why it wasn't, why they weren't that good. But yeah, I mean, unfortunately, they're in the, like I said, and I forget what video it was, but the AFC North is the hardest division in football, and maybe in the AFC South, maybe they would be right there with the Texans. Yep. But it just, that's not how it worked out, because again, like, there's really not much to say on them in my opinion, because it's the same thing every year. They are a great team. They added Jerry Jeudy, but what is his problems? Injury. Yeah. Jedrick Wills is one of the better left tackles in the league. Always hurt. Elijah Moore is good, but even he's somebody who's banged up. David Njoku's always hurt. On paper, they are a great team. Yeah. But injuries always seem to eat them.
And I'm going to say this too, because I've been focusing on the strength of schedule. I forgot 18 weeks. There's 3 divisions that are like, you play the division, but you only get one opponent. Yeah. It's the AFC East, the NFC South, and the AFC South. Yeah. With the Bengals and the Steelers, it was Bengals got the Titans, Steelers got the Colts. Yeah. I'm looking at the Browns schedule. Like I said, they are, with the Steelers and the Ravens, 3 of the top 5 hardest schedules are them. On top of the divisions are AFC North, NFC East, AFC West. While the Bengals are playing the Titans, Steelers get the Colts. Week 2, the Browns are going to Jacksonville. So you're going to Florida at the worst time to go to Florida early in the year.
Hey, I'm going to Florida.
Yeah, but you're not playing football, JD. You're not going to be out there in the Florida heat with the humidity in August playing football. Not even August. At that time, it's September with that humidity. You see the Miami when the Vikings were there, the game, and they showed the thermometer. It's like 105 plus. It's like worst time to go to Jacksonville. You get to go there. When it comes to the AFC East, yes, it's Florida, but you're going there at the right time in December. But still, you got to play. Oh, no. That one's at home. So they're in Cleveland. Great. It'll be snowing. You get to play Miami at home, but it's still Miami. And then the NFC South, this is the one that could be the easy one. You go to New Orleans, but you're still got to go to New Orleans.
Yeah. Yeah, and I mean, again, I'm not very high on the Saints, but again, that's one of the toughest places to play in the NFL.
And I'm going to say with the Browns, the schedule makers gave them they didn't give, I want to say they either didn't give them any excuses. They didn't do them no favors. That's what I'm looking for. Last 4 games, JD, home against the Chiefs, at Cincinnati, home against Miami, at Baltimore.
Yeah.
If Joe Burrow's healthy, you're playing the 2 hardest teams in your division. And oh, by the way, the Chiefs, who will probably be either number 1 or number 2 in the conference, and then the Dolphins, who, if they overperform, will be number 1, but will probably be number 2, number 3, maybe number 4 in the conference, depending on where the Bills fall this year.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely not a great way to end the end the season, but kind of like what you said with the Steelers. I mean, there's no let up. It's not like, okay, we got a nice little stretch here.
We can take this week off. This is a cupcake game.
It's going to be a grind. And again, like I said from the beginning, you're already dealing with guys who are banged up, and the season hasn't even begun.
Yeah.
So how are you going to overcome the injury adversity and manage to squeak out? Because I think that's what it's going to come down to. You got to find ways to win. You're probably from your defense, honestly. You're going to have to win these tight games. And how are you going to do that?
Well, and I mean, 2 things they're going to have to figure out, too. They're dealing with the same stuff that you said the Bengals are dealing with. We talked about the Cowboys. The Cowboys are dealing with this. They got 2 guys on that offensive side of the ball that they're going to have to do this to. And I say that before I say who they are, I just want to say Deshaun Watson, you got him locked down for, after this year, 2 more years at $46 million apiece. So he's got a hefty contract. It's not one of the highest paid, but you got him at a hefty contract. He went from $1 million last year to now $46 million this year, next year, and the year after. The 2 guys I'm looking at, JD, Amari Cooper, who had 4 years left on his deal, but they voided all of them. He'll be a free agent next year if they don't get a deal done.
They voided them? On
SpotRec, it says 2025, 26, 27, and 28, void. He's a free agent after this year.
Yeah.
So you got Amari Cooper that you're going to have to pay. And then the second one, who right now is still on his rookie deal, I believe. No, he's not on his rookie deal. He's on an extension, but he's only making a base salary of $1.125 million this year. Nick Chubb.
Dang.
You got to pay Nick Chubb. You got to pay Amari Cooper. And this is per SpotRec. So the way SpotRec says it is drafted in 2018, had his rookie deal from 2018 to 2021. Then, oh no, that's what it was. They signed an extension with him in 2021 then, which was a 3-year, $36.6 million deal, and it's coming up after this year. So I'm assuming it was front loaded. He's only making $1.1 million this year, but still, got to pay Nick Chubb, got to pay Amari Cooper.
And NFL teams don't want to
pay running backs. Because Nick Chubb will be 30 next season.
And his injury history, I honestly don't blame them for
that knee injury. JD, I'm not mad at Nick Chubb when I say this, but that knee injury will always be scarred right in here. You want to know why?
Why?
I had to parlay that game. Guess what's the only thing that didn't hit?
Is rushing?
Nick Chubb touchdown.
Yeah.
Nick Chubb touchdown. That's all I needed, and he got injured.
Well, he was my first round pick in fantasy, and that was a foreshadow of things to come.
Yeah. Yeah, but the Browns are going to have to make some decisions too, because almost all their running backs are free agents, but yet Naheem Hines, Deonta Foreman, they're not the big deals. Nick Chubb is definitely. Jerome Ford. Do they just look at him to be like, he's got 2 years left though. You're gonna have to then pay him.
Yeah.
It's
going
like
into year 2.
You've got guys, they've got a lot of guys coming up after this year to where it's like, is this the year the Browns have to make a push? And will these guys get re-signed? I will say this without giving a prediction, JD, I'm not super high on the Browns this year.
Yeah, like I said, I'm more so just hesitant. Do I see a world where they're the second place team in the division? Yes. But again, I think a lot of things have to go right for them.
Yeah.
And I don't necessarily see that.
I don't either. But let's end this out. The best team last year, probably going to be the best team this year unless the Bengals give them a chase. The Baltimore Ravens. What did they lose this year? Who's walking away? Rock Ya-Sin, he's with the Niners. Tyler Huntley, he's with the Browns. You've got J.K. Dobbins, he's with the Chargers now. Delshon Phillips is with Houston. Odell Beckham Jr. is with Miami. You have Kevin Zeitler is with the Lions. Gus Edwards is in L.A. with the Chargers. Ronald Darby and Devin Duvernay are with Jacksonville with the Jaguars. Josh Simpson's with the Jets. Geno Stone with your Bengals. Jadeveon Clowney is with the Panthers. You got Patrick Queen, Tyler Matakevich, and Kyle Allen all with the Steelers. You've got Ty Johnson with the Bills, and that's it. No, Tyler Matakevich and Kyle Allen, those were Buffalo. I went into Buffalo. Sometimes I wish they just kept the teams like what they are, but maybe I could just read better. What did they add, JD? Kadar Holloman from the Texans, Josh Tupou from your Bengals, Chris Board from the Patriots, Deonta Hardy from the Bills, Eddie Jackson from the Bears, Josh Jones from the Texans, and the big one. This is the big one. This is where we start. Derrick Henry from the Tennessee Titans. JD, is it... I asked this with the Bengals, kind of, because it's like they should be in the Super Bowl running if Joe Burrow is healthy. But all the hype behind the Ravens, Super Bowl or bust? Is this the year where it's like, hey, Lamar, you got the weapons, you got the tight end, you've got Derrick Henry, we've got the defense. If we can't win a Super Bowl, it's Super Bowl or bust this year.
Yeah, I think it is Super Bowl or bust, but I also, not for the same reasons that a lot of people are saying it. A lot of people, the Derrick Henry signing made them view the Ravens in this like otherworldly light. And honestly, Derrick Henry doesn't move me.
Really?
Again, same thing with Nick Chubb. Okay. When he's playing, he's good, but he's been hurt. He's slowed down. I know last year he picked it up in, I believe, the second half of the season, but I'm more on the side of him slowing down. Obviously, could be wrong, but he's definitely a good fit for their running game or for their running style offense. But he doesn't. Individually doesn't make me be like, oh, the Ravens are going to be a 15-win team, or like I still think their defense is going to be what wins them games. But again, what I like that they did improve though, or I don't, maybe not improve, but at the very least didn't get worse, is their offensive line. You have Tyler Linderbaum, who he had his breakout year last year. Ronnie Stanley's good if he stays healthy. Andrew Voorhees is okay. He's an okay left guard. Ben Cleveland, okay guard. And then Roger Rosengarten, who I loved in this year's draft. But you also have depth as well on the offensive line. So I think that's going to be I would say that's probably going to be next to Lamar the most important aspect of their offense.
I think you're overlooking this. You're overlooking and when I say you're overlooking it, I don't mean it as like, oh, JD, how stupid are you? No, I don't mean that. I mean, the thing is, I think you're looking at it as like, okay, take Derrick Henry. I almost said Devin Henry. Derrick Henry from the Titans. Take that exact role, that amount of carries, plop him on the Ravens. Because you look at Derrick Henry, since 2018, over like 1,059, then 1,540, then 2027, then 2021, he only played 8 games. That was the injury year, 934 in 8 games. Then 2022, back up to 1,538 yards. Last year, 1,167. But here's the big thing that is going to change with the Ravens.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna list off numbers, and you tell me what stat I'm listing off. It's gonna be super easy. You ready?
Yeah.
215, 303, 378, 219, 349, 280.
Rushing attempts.
Carries, yeah. How many times he touched the ball. And that is going to he will not have, like in 2020 when he had 2,000 yards, he is not going to touch the ball like carry-wise 378 times. They're just not going to do that.
No.
I don't even think, I'll be honest, his amount of carries, I kind of feel like if he has 215 or 219, which was his 2 lowest in that span, that's a lot. 200, I think, is the cap of carries that I'm putting on it. And the reason why I say that is you look at the Ravens over the years since I went back to 2020. Number one, they have a 2 running back system each year. They have 2 guys that have split the carries. Like last year, you had Gus Edwards, 198. You also had Keaton Mitchell and Justice Hill, who 47, 84. So really a 3 running back system. They even put Melvin Gordon in there for 26. But who led the team? Like who also had 150 carries? Well, 148, I rounded up. Lamar Jackson. So like this year I look at their depth chart and it's like you have Lamar who's going to get his carries. Justice Hill, I think, should have a improved role on this team. Right now, Keaton Mitchell, he's on the PUP list, but if he's healthy in the season, he's going to have carries. I almost feel like Derrick Henry, they're going to slot him into the Gus Edwards role of last year. Like, okay, the 198 carries that Gus had, Derrick Henry will get those. The only thing I'm looking for, this is the only thing I'm looking for. Last year, Keaton Mitchell, on 47 carries, he averaged 8.4 yards per carry. Justice Hill on 84 carries, 4.6. Gus Edwards, 4.1 on 198 carries. Derrick Henry last year was averaging 4.2 yards per carry. If he could just do that and just fit right into Gus Edwards, do the exact same thing with not yards wise, but give me those carries. If he could maybe bump that average up a little bit, this team will be happy. Just having a solid, consistent runner that teams will fear. Like people will fear Derrick Henry because of how forceful of a runner he is. However, past this season, how long is he going to go? That's a different question because right now he's 30 and a half. He'll be 31 by the time the season ends.
Man, time flies.
Mm-hmm.
That's crazy. I remember when he was a rookie.
2016, second round pick.
Yep.
2016. In that first year, he only had 490 yards. Wow, 490 yards. What's the most touchdowns you think he had in this season? It was the 2020 season. I'll give you that hint.
15.
Close, 17. You're in the ballpark, 17. But like, do I feel like there's a little bit of overhype with this Raven team? Yes. But at the same time, I do think it's deserved.
Yeah. I just don't see them. Like I said, I think they're still going to be very good. Like without giving anything away, obviously they're going to be a top 2 team in the division for me. but I don't see them being like a big improvement. I don't see them being a like I said, like a 14 team or a 14 win team, or maybe even a 13 win team. But again, could be wrong. I mean, I do obviously have a little bias against them, but I mean, I still think their team is very well rounded. Again, I know a lot of people are making their defense be the big question mark, but I still have lots of confidence in it because they just know how to draft. Kyle Hamilton is proving me wrong. He's turning out to be a very good safety. They brought Marcus Williams. They brought him in, I believe, in last year. You know, this is going into year 2 with Baltimore. So they got their safeties secured. You still have just overall their secondary is still good with Marlon Humphrey,
bringing in Nate Wiggins in the draft.
Yeah, Nate Wiggins, who I don't think he's gonna be a starter.
No,
but once he puts on some weight, he's again a great upside pick. TJ Tampa, again, somebody I love. Don't really expect him to play too much this year.
Right now on the PUP list.
Yeah. But then and then defensive line. I mean, they still got a Dafe away. I know he's an edge rusher, but still. You got Michael Pierce at nose tackle, who's good. Justin Metabuke, who I really like. Like just overall, their defense is still very, very solid, even with losing Patrick Queen, Geno Stone.
Yeah.
I forget who else they lost, but yeah, it's still a very solid team.
Yeah, and that's why I feel like this team, I'll be honest, I don't know if I'm going to have them let's be honest, I'm going to have them or the Bengals number 1. Basically how we talked today. I just don't know if I'm going to have them number 1. I might, but who knows? I think they're going to be a solid team regardless though, and this is the year. I'm looking at their schedule too. Out of the 3 games that we've been comparing for every team in this division, they're the only ones that as the season goes on, that strength of schedule could like wish-wash a little bit, because from the AFC East, they're playing Buffalo at home. Should be a tough team, but like we even had our questions about Buffalo when we did the AFC East preview. They're at Tampa Bay. I don't know if Tampa Bay is going to be world beaters this year. Like, and it's a Monday night game, so you're dealing at night in October. And then, week 17, you go to Houston. That's probably, to me, the toughest of the 3. And Buffalo fans are going to have disrespect. They're going to see disrespect there because they're going to be like, we're better than the Texans. Oh, dude, Texans might overlap you this year when it comes to stuff. Like, I could see this being one of the toughest schedules in the league, but also, like, it depends how these teams perform. But, JD, any final thoughts on the AFC North before we wrap up?
Maybe this is just the wrong thing to say, but to me, I just feel like it's pretty chalk. Like just, I feel like most people going into the season probably have the top 2 teams that we have with Baltimore and Cincinnati, and then Cleveland and Pittsburgh at the bottom. But I mean, I feel like every team though has improved. I mean, well, maybe not the Bengals. I don't really think the Bengals improved.
You're like maybe not my team. Like I'm just
but again, you have Joe Burrow, so that should make up for some of the deficiencies. But I mean, it's still, like I said, best division in football.
So you're going to say it's the best division in football?
Yeah, I've been saying that that the AFC North is. I don't see any of these teams having a losing record.
Okay.
So, but yeah, we'll get into that when we
will get into that right at the end when we do our predictions. But this is where you guys come in. Let us know what you think down below. Are we right? Are we wrong? Are we off? Let us know what you guys think. Also, remember, join the MVP Discord if you haven't already. Greatest community. Link is in the description, along with our Patreon. If you want to support us, hit that subscribe button, that like button. JD and I will be back. I'm trying to think. This one is a Friday release, so we'll be back on Monday with the NFC North. I hope we check you guys out then. You guys check out the podcast. For JD and myself, though, thank you guys for watching and listening. And as always, have a good day, everybody.
See ya.
As always, we'd like to thank the people that make these videos possible, our patrons whose names are displayed on the screen now. If you would like to become a patron, go ahead and click the Patreon icon in the bottom right. And if you'd like to check out another video from MVP Sports, hit the video in the upper left. As always, thanks for watching.